Hello, good afternoon. This is Steve Tuffle here, and I'm going to show you how to rectify in the program Sirius, which is an astrological program produced by Cosmic Pattern Software, which can be had on the internet. And I think that really so far all of the programs I've ever had has been totally comprehensive. Um, Cosmic Pattern Sirius has been probably the most of those where the most things can be done at any one time. Here's one of the aspects of this program, rectification, and I use Sirius pretty much everything for all my astrological work. Um, I just want to show you how to do rectification. This John Smith character comes out of my mind as a figment of my imagination. Which means effectively there's going to be no correlation. We're not going to be able to find out whether this is actually going to work out or not. But you can see that I put his birthday down as a sort of arbitrary time at the beginning of the 80s. And the time of birth I put as 12 noon, which is like gives me a 50-50 chance between 12 midnight the day before and 12 midnight the day after. So whatever happens in between those two playing zones, we're just going to work with that whole 24-hour period and see what Sirius comes up with. Down here, I have some also fictitious events. I've got 9 of them here, which I'm going to plug into the software, and we're going to see just how that's going to affect it and how it works. Okay, so let's get started. We go to the forecast drop down, which is there. And we're going to go to rectification, which is here. And I'm just going to try and see if I can grab that screen back. There it is. Okay. So now you see what we have the possibilities on the left here. There are forecast methods. Now you can choose whatever you like. For this particular example, I'm going to choose transit to natal, which will give us plenty of possibilities. If anything actually happens on those days when these events are supposed to happen, that should show up there. I'm sure you're able to use other ones, whatever your choice is to use. I mean, as astrologers, you'll decide which is going to be the most important for you. We have a range coming down here, day for a year, month for a year, solar arc, degree for a year, and then underneath that we have converse. I'm sure you've tried the converse progressions, which are very revealing at times. Those are all the choices, but I'm going to stick with just transit to natal for this one. We're going to start at midnight the night before, and we're going to go to midnight the night after, and we're going to calculate a single chart, each chart for each minute. You can see it can be 2 minutes, or 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, 10, 20, 30, or an hour between each one, but we're going to use a minute, and you're going to see how long it takes. So now we're going to add these events in there, which I'm going to come back to again. So the first one is going to be, and this keeps happening, so I'm going to take them out now. And I'm going to put these over on the other screen here, and I'm just going to read them from that, and whatever happens, I'm going to put. Okay, so the first one is like father dies. So we're doing that, and we're going to pop the date into that, which is 01 24 1998. That's the first one. Then we're going to add another one. I'm not going to waste too much of your time. A child was born. This is John's son that came into the world on 07, 09, 2001. And then the next one is going to be another death. So uncle died, I think, on that day. I'm just making this up. You know that, don't you? So that's 04, 07, 2007. So we're going to plug that in. Adding another one here. John decided he'd move to California. So he went to California. And this would be on 01, 01, 2008. Mysterious date to be going to another part of the country. I think New Year's Day is probably the worst day to travel. But anyway, here we go. My imagination is very fertile. Alright, so believe it or not, another child was born. This is a daughter. Let's say this was born on 08, 08. Whoops, I screwed that up. Just go back, highlight it, 08, 08, and 2009. All right. So that's the second child born in 2009, two years later, which is quite reasonable when you think about it. All right. So then some kind of romance started, and this would be 07, 04, 2013. This is while they were watching the fireworks, perhaps. All right, and then so let's get the last ones in quickly. There's some sort of emotional, psychic thing happened. That says today's date, doesn't it? Well, this has been in December 2013, so I'm going to do 12/04 2013. So that's the last one. Let's add another event here. Something went wrong. John lost his job or something, so we're going to put failure lost victim there. And that would be 02/17/2014. We're going to put that in there, and then I'm going to add the last one here, where John gets into a car accident. And luckily he wasn't hurt, but his car's complete write-off. 04/09/2014. Alright, so we got all of our stuff in here. So now we're going to do done, return to previous menu, and a menu pops up that says new events are saved. So we're going to now start with the analysis. Now, this is probably going to, it says they're going to be 1,440 calculations, so we better get started right away. So it's going to do this for quite a while. So I'm just going to, with the magic of television, we're going to stop this while it goes on. And then when we come back, all of these things will be revealed to you. I think it's worth noting, though, that this is how the process works. It's actually scoring all the different times. We're starting at midnight here, and we're going all the way through that particular hour. We're still in that same hour. We now got to 22:01 in the morning, and we're seeing the scores starting to increase. So here, notice of course that 50 minutes, in other words 8 minutes to 1, was not quite so popular as 20:1, which is getting a much higher score. And then the highest scores now are down on the good side of that 1 a.m. period. So we're looking at like 1:20 and that sort of thing. And those in 1:30, 1:40, that sort of thing. So you're starting to see how these things are correlated. And of course I've done this the very easiest way possible. I'm doing transit to natal, which is quite a good measure of accuracy. Things that happen, in real time do have an effect on the individual, and these transits do happen. So we're looking at all the things that happen on those particular days, and we're making comparisons with the natal chart. Alrighty, I'm going to shut my mouth now. We're just going to wait for this to calculate the full thing, and when it gets to that point, I'll come back in again, and you'll see how it finishes off. Okay, so we're just about halfway now. Just let you know where we are. Several things are starting to become clear. That the highest scores seem to be completely varied. We have 2:30 in the morning, 5 in the morning, 11 o'clock in the morning, and 12 is up there in the high ones. But things could change completely. By the time we've seen all of them being plugged in, you're going to get several combinations. And obviously the highest score down the bottom there, which is actually currently 60 point something, shows 228 as being the highest scoring point. So this is the number of charts we've done. 834, 5, 6, 7, is it going up as I'm talking? And over here it's saying that there's 1,440, so we're quite over the halfway point now. So I'm going to go off again, and we'll come back when it's done. Okay, it's coming up to the end now. In fact, it just clicked on it just right there. So this is how it looks at the end. And there's another window over here which has all the calculations, um, which I'm trying to show you because it was outside of the screen. So you see all these things that actually took 0 points, and some of these other ones have got more points than others, so you can go down this whole list and see each one scored the biggest amount of points. Father dies, quite large point there at that particular time. So what it's doing basically is looking the time in the morning, the event, the type of event, whatever it is, and it's working a score out from that. So here we have 0.96. This accident here happening at that time in the morning obviously was not really a high scorer, so it comes to 0. Anyway, I mean, you can look at all of these things here and you'll see all the scores that they get, what they are. This one got a very high score, the child born, and all of these things you can see occurred because of that time there. Okay, now let's pull this out and let's look at this. So this is actually the final score. So the final score shows that 8 o'clock at night, 8:20, 54, that's going to be like 2100, I think. It's going to be like 9 o'clock, I think is what it says it's going to be. So we go down the, well, actually, it's turned it around. It's 2112 is the final score. So now what we're going to do is we'll plug in a 2112 time of birth, and that will be what we use. And we'll see how the chart changes. So let's just do that now. So we're going to edit the data. We're going to put 2112, and we're going to do done. And this is what the new chart looks like. We have Moon in the 10th, along with Sedna. And wait a minute, this is not really the one that I generally show to you guys. So I'm just going to change that back. There we go. That's how it looks like. Yep. So there you go. And then it will also show all the other things too, that declination values and everything. We've got an out of bounds Mercury there. That's it. So Mercury's out of bounds. And also we see Mercury's retrograde there in Capricorn, just in the 5th house. And then everything else there is in the 5th house. And Sun is in Sagittarius, conjunct Uranus. So it's going to be quite an interesting kind of guy. Anyway, so I took you through the rectification. It's now nearly 13 minutes. I'm sure you've had quite enough of this. So thanks for spending time with me, and see you next time.